So we just went through drawing a circle and sector, stuff like that, and this stuff here. So we're moving on to 14b. Let me change this one up. Should be chapter 14. Now, example 1. The circumference. What's the formula for circumference? C equals to? Do you remember?
Radius times pi. Radius times
2 pi r.
okay.
Okay? 2 pi r or pi times d. Why? Because the 2 times the radius is the same as the diameter.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 times r is d. That's why 2 pi r or pi d. Now, I'll just tell you right here that the area is equals to pi r squared. How do I remember this? Well, the formula with the square is area because the area is always in something squared, like centimeter squared or meter squared or kilometer squared, right?
Yeah.
So because area always has squared in it, that's always the formula with r squared.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I remember it. So circumference of a circle with diameter 14. Okay, so first one in terms of pi. So question A1 is very simple. The circumference is pi times diameter. You always write the formula first. Okay, I always recommend to write the formula first and then you write the numbers in. So diameter 14. So that would be 14 times pi. So 14 pi. Okay, and then they said to use an approximate value of pi. So that's 1. And then question A2 would be using pi equals to 22 over 7, right? When you multiply this, you don't multiply. What do you do first?
Not sure.
Not sure? When you have a multiplication that involves a fraction, like so, right?
Yeah.
You always do simplification first.
Yeah.
So the 14 normally is just a whole number, so it's always times to the top, right? So you take any number, that's 14 over 1. You take any number on the top, like 14, and any number at the bottom, which is 7. Yeah. That has a common factor.
Yeah.
And the common factor is 7.
Yeah.
So you divide them both by 7, which means this one turns into 1. This one turns into 2. So before you even multiply that, if you simplify that first, the answer would just be 2 times 22 over 1, which is 44 over 1, which is 44. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you see fraction multiplication, always simplify first.
Okay.
Right? You don't, otherwise, you have to do a big number and then divide to get the smaller one number. Not worth.
Okay.
Okay. So for question B, it's like the same thing. I'm not gonna go through it. So circumference is 2 pi r. Okay, and the radius 21. So 2 pi times 21. Same thing. That would be 42 pi, and then if you approximate using this value, would be 42 times 22 over 7. Same thing. 42 and 7, you can simplify them. 42 becomes 6. 7 becomes 1.
Okay.
Right. And then 6 times 22 is 132.
Okay.
Okay. You gotta write the units. Centimeter.
Yeah.
Okay, so circumference is just the line. Imagine if you put a string around a circle, that's the circumference.
Okay.
Right? Any question? No? Easy?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. Should be easy, right? Find circumference with diameter and radius.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yep, that is good. I'll go back. I'll tell you what question to do later. Question 14, sorry, chapter 14c, area of a circle. So I already told you the area earlier. Don't worry too much about it. It's just pi r squared. All right. So once you've got the formula, so this question you just need to apply the formula. It's really not hard. Just put the radius in and then you got the diameter. If you have the diameter, you have to find the radius, which is 7 over 2.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then after that, it's just the same idea again. So apply formulas, not too bad. If pi equals to that, find the approximate value. Yeah, no, easy. Okay, we'll skip those ones for now. So some of these questions are a bit harder, depending on how we go. I might jump back and do some of these questions for you.
Okay.
Okay, but I'll cover all of the content first. Okay. Areas of composite figures. If you have composite figures, composite means multiple figures into one.
Yeah.
Okay, like this one here, there are 2 figures, right? There's the inner one and then there's the outer one.
Yeah.
So the area is just the outer minus the inner. Simple as that. Okay, any question?
Yeah.
No, easy?
Yeah.
All right. So skip that one. This one, same thing. Area of the outer minus the inner. Okay. The outer is a square and the inner is the one with...
How do I find the area of the circle?
Of the circle, you only need one thing, which is the radius.
It's just pi and radius?
Pi r squared, yes.
Okay.
So the final answer roughly would be 8 squared because that's the square area. Subtract pi times 3 squared.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
No, that's about it. Not too bad. Then when you estimate it, as I said earlier, you can simplify if you can. Now, this one, the figure below, okay, it's getting a little bit harder now. Okay, actually maybe I'll go through this one. I'll show you some slightly more advanced way of doing it. 14, I think this is 14D. Is it 14D? Yeah, 14D. Okay. Alright, so this one here, find the area of the figure in terms of pi. So find the area of this one is the area of the rectangle in the middle plus the other two here, right?
Yeah.
But when you add those two shapes, what does it make?
It just makes a semicircle.
Semicircle, yes. What's the area of a semicircle?
Right. Pi times. Wait, pi r.
What's the formula for area of a circle?
Oh yeah, pi r squared.
Yep, so a semicircle would be?
Just pi r. Oh no, pi. Isn't it just pi r?
No, because that means you're dividing by r. You're not dividing by r, you're dividing by 2.
Okay.
Okay, so semicircle, right? Semicircle is the main area divided by 2.
Okay.
Okay, it's just half of that. It's like a quadrant is the area of a circle. So a quadrant would be the area of a circle divided by 4.
Okay.
Right, because there are 4 pieces.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's it. So it'll just be the square, which is 7 times 8, 56, plus the radius is 7 centimeters. So that would be pi times 7 squared, and then 2 quadrants make a semicircle, so you only have to divide it by 2.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Pretty easy? Hopefully?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's 14D. Let's see. Okay. So then now we'll go to the content that you showed me earlier, which is the structure of a circle. Okay. So far we've got the whole radius and diameter. Now, what do you out of the list of?
Wait, our topic was ratios, rates, ratios, and percentages.
Wait, what do you mean? Like the topic for the exam or the topic for
The exam.
first week?
The exam.
Like this coming exam?
No, the one I showed you, like this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what about it?
You said we were gonna do that. I just showed you.
Yeah, no. So let me go back and look at your exam first.
Okay.
And I'll go through that next lesson.
Okay.
Okay, so I have to see what your answers were and then prepare and I'll see how you go with that. But it will take me some time to go through that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why we'll focus on, and the thing is, revising that basically will only help me see what kind of questions the school will ask you.
Okay.
And what exam was that? Criterion D, right?
Criterion C and D.
C and D? Okay. Note that down. Okay, C and D. All right. Yeah. So I'll go through that. But now we'll go through the new content first. So I think you said, yeah. Do you have an exam this term?
No. Yeah.
What criterion is it on?
I'm pretty sure it's a criterion A. Wait, let me double check. It's gonna be criterion A here, and then we have a criterion B here. In week 4, criterion A, and then Friday's criterion B, and then we're gonna have another criterion B here, and then a criterion B and C.
Okay, can you send me that document?
Yeah.
Yeah, just send it on Discord for me.
A screenshot.
Yeah. If it's too small, you can take like 2 screenshots. Okay. Yep. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Nice. I'll have a look at that later. Now back to the circle. Back to the circle question. Can you bring up the list of circle topics, the ones that your teacher went through with you?
This?
Yes. Okay. Now, before I go through into the details, do you understand what a chord is?
No.
No. Read that and tell me what you think it is. So let's say this is a circle, right?
A line segment that joins 2 points in the circumference but not passing to the center. So
let's say this is a circle, right? Can you draw a chord out for me? What do you think it is? Oh, and the center is like, say, roughly here. So, what's a chord? You want to make a guess?
Okay. And this?
Which part is a chord? Is it the line or is it the area here?
Is it a line?
No. Okay, look. Is that the line segment?
Yeah.
That's 2 lines.
Segment.
It's 1 line.
Okay. That joins 2 points in the circumference. Okay, wait, so is this 1 line like that?
No, still not a chord. I'm not going to give you the answer easily. You gotta think about it. A line segment, okay, do you understand what a line segment is? It's a single line, right? If you have that, that's 2 lines.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so a line segment that joins 2 points on the circumference. Do you have 2 points on the circumference?
No, I have 1.
Yeah, so you gotta start with that, 2 points on the circumference.
Can I?
Where's the circumference? Yeah, anyway. Any 2 points, right? So just pick a point, pick another point.
Just add another point.
Yeah? On the circumference.
Oh.
On the circumference. What is the
circumference?
circumference? The circumference is the line that if you wrap around the circle. Yes, that's a circumference. Okay, now read again. Chord is a line segment that joins 2 points on the circumference but not passing through the center. Joins 2 points on the circumference.
So here.
Okay, and then?
Like that.
Oh, you have a ruler there. Don't be lazy. You gotta draw it properly. Okay, does it satisfy the last condition, not passing through the center? Does that
Yeah.
line segment not pass through the center?
Oh, it does, right?
Like you mean
No,
it,
it doesn't. It doesn't.
it doesn't pass through the center? So do you think that's a chord?
Yeah.
Yes, that's a chord. It's a line segment there. That's a chord. Now read the next one. Segment.
The part of the circle that is between a chord and the circumference.
All right, show me where it is.
Here.
You mean a point?
Part of a circle that is between a chord and the circumference. Like this?
Not quite. Between the chord and the circumference. Where's the chord that we just drew?
Okay, so the chord is here
Uh-huh.
and the circumference is here.
Uh-huh.
It's between the chord and the circumference, so isn't it that? Yeah, oh, is it just this line here to like there?
Not that line. The part could, so in this case, I'll tell you it's an area.
Okay.
Okay, so shade the area that represents the segment. Alright, it's between the chord and the circumference. What's the area that is between the chord you just drew and the circumference?
Oh, okay.
Yep, shade it in. You can do like the dash, to shade in an area. Okay, shade the area corresponding to the segment.
So isn't it just like the line here? Like that whole other thing?
No. Between the chord, which is that one,
Yeah.
and the circumference, which is this bit here.
So it's just this.
It's an area.
So it's just that.
So, yes, that's a better way of showing a segment. Oh, well, not that. It's the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's the part between the chord and the circumference.
Okay.
Alright, so the reason why I'm going through this exercise is because you gotta be able to read these things and try to understand it yourself.
Okay.
You can get it wrong, that's okay. Alright, but you need to be able to make a guess and then go through with it. And if you get it wrong, then you have to learn from it.
Okay.
Because I think in QA they require a lot of critical thinking. Critical thinking is the ability to read something and critically think about it.
Yeah.
Right? Think about what it means, think about each part of it, and then you have to be able to use that to deduce what it means. Okay?
Yeah.
So far I've been giving you a lot of the answers, but from now on I'll try to give you more chance to think.
Okay.
So next, arc.
The part of the circumference between two radii.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the circumference between two radii.
Mm-hmm.
So first you need to do two radii, right?
Yep.
Is that a radii? Like this?
Nope.
Whole thing like that?
What's the radius?
It's like a part of a circle. A line into the middle.
Yeah. A line what?
That goes in the middle.
Scroll up, read through what a radius, definition of radius is.
The distance from the middle of the circle to the circumference.
Yeah, to the circumference, right? You can't just stop in the middle of nowhere, okay?
Okay. And then, so the part of the circumference between two radii.
Now, tell me, do you think the arc is like a line or?
It's like a slope.
Hey?
A slope.
Yep. Okay.
The part of the circumference between two radii.
Okay. So if you want to highlight a part that is a line, so for example, if I want to highlight a radius, I would put like something like that, for example, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to highlight the arc, show me what the arc is.
Isn't it just like a line through it like that?
No. Read again. The part of the circumference. Where's the circumference?
Here, between two radii. So just here, this thing.
Yeah. So you gotta shade that for me. Which part?
Here.
Just so that means you're telling me it's a point. No, if you want to shade the whole section of like a line, you have to go. Now that's the area.
Oh, is it the whole thing?
Well, okay. Use your pencil to trace it. Use your pencil to trace what the arc is.
Isn't it this?
No.
Is it like a thing like that?
No, the part on the circumference. You're not touching the circumference.
So, coming to all the way till here.
Well, it's part of the circumference, right?
Okay, so does it go out?
No.
Part of the circumference between two radii.
So, for example, part of a circumference is like this. if I were to draw this part here, is that part of a circumference?
Yeah.
Yeah, see what my pen is tracing? It's tracing the part of the circumference, right? If I go out, it's not. Yeah. So where? Yes. Okay. That's what part of circumference means.
Okay.
All right. So that's the arc, and are these two radii?
What do you mean?
Like, are these two lines here radii?
Yeah.
Yes, they are. So that is the arc. Okay. And quadrant, we got that already. Sector, the part of a circle between two radii. So this circle is like the whole thing.
Yeah.
So that's why I said earlier, a sector is
that.
yes, that is correct. Okay, make sense?
Yeah.
So the two new things basically just the chord
Yeah.
and the arc and the segment. Now, the segment is that shaded part then between the chord and the circumference.
Yeah.
Because those are the three new ones.
Yeah.
Right. So as I said earlier, I need to get you to try to figure things out yourself from now on, because in the exam I won't be able to be there to help you too much. Okay, which means that let's see, how confident are you with like these kinds of questions for this chapter, the circle?
I'm not too familiar with like the pi ones. They can make us do like a lot of see, let me show you something similar to what I'm doing in class.
Uh-huh.
Like we didn't do any of these in class. We just like really like briefly went through that. And then we went through like stuff like this and this Monte Carlo thing.
Interesting. Okay. So basically what your seems like what your school is doing is they're giving you more information than just because that's pi investigations.
Yeah, that's what like I'm not too familiar about.
Okay, alright, let's see. Flip it over. I might go and explain a few things of these. Those bases same as pi. I see. Okay. Okay, so these investigations are something that you actually just have to go through and try out the experiments at home.
Okay.
Okay. Now, let me put it in a slightly different way. Do you find these ways of finding pi interesting?
Yeah.
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 You sure?
Like some of them.
Like what?
Like that one.
Okay, the Monte Carlo method is interesting to find pi.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you tried doing this?
Yeah.
And
mine failed.
yours failed.
The teacher was like doing stuff in Excel's like, and when like literally none of us didn't know what to do because like we did it in Excel and like he did some weird stuff and like it was weird.
Okay. Let's see.
I think he put his own there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Plot the points on the grid. Number of points in that circle outside. Okay, I see.
Wait, can you try this one? Because this is my section, so this might be my own one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like doing like stuff, and he didn't even put like a number in. You know what I mean?
Okay, let me explain the Monte Carlo method. Let's see. It is definitely an interesting one. So I'll explain to you the Monte Carlo method and one more thing, which is the about probability. Okay, so basically the Monte Carlo method is saying that if you have like a grid of if you have a grid from, let's say, negative 10 to 10, it doesn't matter, it can be 1 to 1. But they're just using negative 10 to 10 to make the numbers a little bit easier to work with for whole numbers. Okay? But basically what they're saying is the area, the ratio, so the area of the circle, right, divided by the area of the square is equals to, actually the other way around. So the area of the square is divided by the area of a circle would roughly be pi. 3 point. Okay, wait. So area of a circle would be pi r squared, and radius squared is, oh yeah. Okay. All right. So the square that I'm talking about is a smaller square here. Okay. So this smaller square here, the area of that is r squared, right? Because the radius is over here. The radius is 10.
Yeah.
Okay. So the smaller square, r squared, would be equals to 100.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are finding. What you're actually doing is finding out the ratio, the area of the circle would be some sort of pi times by the area of the smaller square. Yeah, of the area of the small square. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. And what you're doing with that method is when you find out the points and when you plot the points in. For example, what they're saying is if you randomly generate a number of points, and what they're saying is that each point has an equal chance of being picked. All right. So if you put all the points in here, if you only use 20 points, it's not going to be as accurate because the chance of you getting more points in the circle or more points outside is higher. If you have 2,000 points, okay, imagine if you have 2,000 points per one of these, it's going to give you a much better ratio of how many points are inside the circle, which is these points here, versus how many points are outside of the circle, which are these points here.
Okay.
All right, it will give you a much better ratio.
Yeah.
Right, but if you use only 20 points, it's not going to give you as good of a ratio.
Yeah.
It will be an okay estimate, but it's not going to be the same as pi.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
As long as you try that out, you can see that the number is quite close to pi. So if you try 40 points, the answer is going to be a bit better.
Okay.
Okay, does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you're essentially doing is getting a bunch of points and then finding out the ratio, right? Between, did they tell you the formula here, or you have to work it out yourself? Point inside divided by total points times by the total area. Yeah. So what they're saying is that the ratio of points inside the circle, which is these ones here.
My one was just using the teacher's example. Like the one I did was just using the teacher's example.
Yeah, that's teacher's example. Yeah, so they probably chose a number that makes it work. Okay, but basically the idea is that the ratio of the points inside the circle over the total points, right? And then when you multiply that with the main area here. When you multiply the ratio, so points inside the circle divided by points total points. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that would give you the ratio of the area inside the circle over the total area. And what's the total area here? It's just the bigger square.
You mean the whole square?
Yeah, like the full square here. Because I just showed you in using one quadrant, but the ratio is the same for every single quadrant.
So
right, because it's symmetrical. So the total area would just be 20 by 20.
Okay. That's 10 by 10 though.
Hmm?
Isn't it 10?
Yeah. So 10 goes up, 10 goes down. So the width of this is 20.
Yeah.
Okay. So the total area is 20 by 20 because you're generating a point between negative 10 and 10.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the area of a circle will be equals to the ratio of the points, the number of points inside the circle over the total points, and then you times it by the total area. So again, this is an estimated value for pi.
Okay.
Right? It's an estimated value only. It's not the exact value of pi. There are many ways of calculating it. The previous exercise actually just showed you there are 5 different ways of calculating the values of pi.
Okay.
Right? And most of the time you don't even need to use that many digits of pi. But I think that investigation just show you how the values of pi can be calculated.
Okay.
Right. Does this method make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah? Just the ratio of the circle divide. And to get the ratio of the area of a circle, you have to generate the points inside the circle. And you're saying, okay, the ratio of the points over the total points is roughly the ratio of the circle. But of course, you are estimating, so it's not going to be as accurate.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, so that's about that's the method. That's the Monte Carlo method. How about the other methods? Have you tried them out?
Yeah.
No? Are you gonna try them out?
Yeah.
Do you have to try them out for school?
No, we only tried out like Monte Carlo and like some of these. That's it. We didn't even try that out. We tried this fraction thing. We tried, to earn this.
Did your teacher say if this will be part of the exam or not?
No, he didn't say anything about that. And then also we tried something with like this this is graph Desmos thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about the graph?
I don't know. We put it on Desmos.
Okay. All right. Like what graph?
Like this, something like this. But we like planted the numbers in Desmos.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. It's just to show you the points on Desmos. To plot the points on Desmos, right?
Yeah.
And then count how many are inside, how many are outside, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just part of the Monte Carlo method. Okay. How about the actual questions though? Like those ones.
Like these.
Oh, that's 15A.
Yeah.
But yeah. How about those questions for 14?
Hey, we did some stuff like this.
Yeah. Have you tried these questions?
No. Like I did this in class, like these word ones, not those ones.
And what do you think about them?
They're alright.
They're alright?
We did it together in class though.
Okay. Let me see.
The teacher will go through it in class, and then if you don't want to watch it, you can just like go in by yourself, or you can just watch it and do it, and like go through it. Yeah.
So you're just watching the teacher doing it in class?
Yeah.
Okay. And when did the teacher go through these questions in class?
I think it was Monday, Tuesday, but it was like half a lesson because we had an assembly.
Okay. Monday or Tuesday. Did you have much homework this week?
No, we don't really have homework. And even if we do have homework, like she never mentions it. Like she'll say it, but then like she'll forget about it, and like we'll never go through it.
Basically, your homework is whenever you finish a chapter, right? It's always the exercises. The exercises inside the review is a good step. So to save some time, put it this way: you have to do these review exercises. Okay.
Yeah.
So these are the first ones because if you do these, then you know exactly what questions you need help with.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then once you've done these ones, if you need help with the questions, for example, let's say if you struggle with like question 10, for example, right? I can see this question and I'll try to, you can ask me in Discord, I'll send back the explanation, I'll try to find something equivalent to go through with you.
Okay.
Okay, and then whatever questions you can't go through at home, then or it makes no sense. Then if you send over a bunch of questions, like 10 of them, I may reserve a few to do when you're here with me.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Let me tell you something. For this term, in order to make sure that we make the most out of it, there are a few steps to learning math. Okay. Number one. First step is to understand the basics. Right? Yeah. So what do I mean by basics? Things like area of a circle is pi r squared. That's the basics.
Yeah.
Okay? So or like circumference is equals to 2 pi r. Right? That's the basics.
Yeah.
Right? And then step 2, so step 1 is actually to understand basics. Remember, understanding just means you can recognize the answer. You hear my explanation or your teacher's explanation or the textbook explanation and you're like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? So that's step 1, understand the basics. Step 2 is practice the basics. Okay? What do you mean by practice the basics? Well, if you look at these kinds of questions, okay, I will go back to say, oh, okay. Oh yeah, another basics would be what is a chord,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Or like what's a segment,
Yeah.
right? So if you don't understand the basics, so for example, what we went through earlier was step one, right? In terms of like the what is a chord, what is a segment, what is an arc, those three, or like what is a sector, okay? You lack the understanding of those basics. That's why we went through those ones. And then next we did things like these ones here, where it's like, oh, can you draw? Ask you, oh, can you draw the segment? Can you draw the chord and the arc? So that's the second step called practice the basics.
Okay.
Okay, so practice the basics is I calculate. Another example would be using this one would be like calculate area given radius equals to 7 and use pi equals to 22 over 7, roughly equals 22 over 7. Okay, so that's practice the basics. You literally just take the formula and you punch the numbers into the formula. So this one, if you understand the basics, this step I think is normally easy for you.
Okay.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah? If you understand it, it's easy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That means that you see how step 2 depends on step 1.
Yeah.
Right? Step 2 depends on step 1. Okay, if you don't understand anything, you can't do the exercises.
Yeah.
Okay? And I want you to try this now for next week. Whatever you don't understand, ask me straight away.
Okay.
Alright? Because these 2 steps are not enough to get you good marks in the exam.
Okay.
Alright? What's the next step? So these 2 steps, okay, before moving on, these 2 steps I want to be done outside of the lesson that you have with me.
Yeah.
Okay? Because these 2 steps are easy.
Yeah.
Like, understand the basics, I can just give you like a 5-minute explanation. Like I can give you like a 2-minute explanation. You'll be like, oh, that makes sense. And then you can practice the basics.
Yeah.
And then after that would be step 3, which is problem solving. Okay? Problem solving. Now this step can be put it this way, like practice problem solving. But in order for you to practice the problem solving step, you need to learn some advanced techniques. Okay, so to do that, you actually need step 3.1, which is learn some advanced techniques. Okay, learn advanced techniques based on the basic concepts, and then 3.2 is when you would try out problem solving by yourself.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So most students, they don't get to the step 3. This is the hard one.
Okay.
Right? This is the hard one. And that's not even the end. Okay? Step 4 is, okay, actually may put it this way. So learn problem solving. Right? I'll call that learn problem solving. And then step 4 is practice problem solving. Problem solving. So what do we mean by practice problem solving versus learn problem solving? The difference is, so far, last term, we've only gone up to step 3. So why? Remember how last term I was going through a bunch of questions?
Yeah.
Right? And then you would be like, oh yeah, makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes they get you to redo those questions, right?
Yeah. Because I didn't do it at home.
Yeah, partly because you didn't do it at home, or partly also because I didn't assign homework for you.
Yeah.
Right. So it's many reasons. But yes, definitely you should do more at home. I'll get to that in a second. So to me, that's still learning problem solving, because I give you the answer first.
Yeah.
Right. And then you're like, oh, I know how to do it. Yeah. And then even if you do it again, you're only practicing the same technique.
Yeah.
Right. You're practicing the same steps. The final step is number 4 here. Practice problem solving. What do we mean by this? So you get an entire new question, right? Get new challenging question, problem solving question, right? Get new problem solving question. And then attempt, so do it. And then check, get the right answer.
Okay.
Until you can get to that step 4, you won't be able to do that exam. By skimming through the exam, I can see that unless you can get to that step 4, that exam will continue to be difficult because that exam is basically this thing.
Okay.
They give you something that you've never seen before, and you
Yeah.
have to figure it out.
Yep.
Okay, so that's why the QA program is the most challenging. Our basically all schools in Queensland is the most challenging one, and that requires us to be able to. That requires us to have to try to get through the first 3 steps as fast as we can.
Yeah.
Right. So here's the plan for you, Mustafa. So 1 and 2, these two steps definitely home. Okay.
Yep.
So definitely do this at home. Again, I already told you earlier, you can send me questions anytime.
Yep.
The chat is so quiet. It's just me sending you notes and there's no questions.
Yeah.
So I know that you are reserving the question to come and ask me in class, but most of the questions that you're asking me, I can give you an answer in like 2 minutes.
Okay.
And it may take you, it could be 5 minutes, and it may take you another couple minutes to sit down and think about it and try it out. But you can do all of that at home.
Yeah.
Save time, right? Because if you don't do that at home, then these steps is the only things we can do here.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm giving you a plan on how to move forward. Now, this step, right? So that was home, right? And then this one would be tutoring with me.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's when I'll go through some problem solving ones. I won't go through everything.
Yeah.
I'll go through a few.
Yeah.
And I show you some ideas like, this is, what you need to do. These are some techniques like the one I showed you earlier, the one where you have a fraction like 14 times by 60 over 7, right? And then the trick is to simplify these ones and then you multiply them together. So that's an algebraic technique. There's more than just that. There are many different advanced techniques you in year 8. I've taught all the way to year 12. If you want to do well in year 12, you have to learn all of these things. You have to be aware of them so that you have the time to, step 4, practice these techniques.
Okay.
It doesn't come straight away. Right? Even if you haven't seen a technique I showed you before, doesn't mean that you can actually apply that straight away after.
Yeah.
Alright? But the practice problem solving part, Mustafa, this one is home. Okay?
Yeah.
This one's at home. So out of these 4 steps, you have to do 3 of them at home.
Yeah.
Okay? Because when you're practicing problem solving, when you're doing new problem solving questions, if you're stuck, you can still ask me, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I think it's an important one, I'll be like, okay, yeah, I'll go through in the lesson, right? Or if I don't have time, I'll be like, okay, I'll go through in the lesson. Then that's fine. It will turn from practice into learn, okay? But you need to do the practice at home.
Yeah.
Right, to go through the question because it's going to take like maybe an hour or 2. I don't have an hour or 2 to let you do the questions on the whiteboard here.
Yeah.
I want to just go through and give you like the key concepts, the key techniques in order to do those questions. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So let's try this. I'll go through some challenging questions for chapter 15. Chapter 14 first. Okay. And chapter 15, I want you to. So you just starting 15, right?
Yeah.
You don't know how you feel yet, right?
Yeah.
So the goal for next week is you need to, at home, alright? For chapter 15, you have to do the first 2. So try to understand the basics and practice the basics, aka do the question in the textbook.
Yeah.
Okay? And I will have to tell your mom about this plan as well, so that she'll be able to give you a bit of a push.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
How hard is she pushing you?
I don't know. I like doing practice math at home, like not that much.
Okay, but you need to get started on that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and then for chapter 14, you'll be doing the harder questions, the practice problem solving questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll show you a few techniques, and then you have to, based on those techniques, try to find ways, solve the challenging ones yourself. For example, question 16. Alright, let's say this question 16 here. 4 semicircles are drawn along the edges of a square with side length 14. Find the perimeter of the region, giving your answers in terms of pi. How do you think I'm going to do this question?
Just find the square actually, yeah, just find the area of the circle in the square.
No. Well, first it's not area, it's perimeter.
Oh, okay. Find the area. Find the perimeter then. Find the perimeter of it.
Yeah, what's the perimeter of the region?
It's the whole thing.
What whole thing? It's the line around the whole thing. Remember, perimeter is only like a line.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's that bit there is a perimeter.
Yeah.
If you said whole thing, it could be this. This is the area of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right? Perimeter is only the line around the whole thing. Okay, how do we find the perimeter?
It's fine. The side length. Wait, so the square is the side length of 14 centimeters, or is the?
Yeah. Side length of 14, yeah.
So that means you have to find.
How do we find the perimeter of a circle? What's the formula?
Pi equals radius.
No.
What is it?
You see what I mean? You haven't passed step one.
Okay.
Okay? You haven't passed step one. I can't go on
Okay.
to do step 3.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean now?
Yeah.
Right? You actually have to do these steps at home.
Yeah.
You can ask me a question. I'm encouraging you to ask me questions. Okay? Like, oh, I don't know how to do this one. I will always send back answers.
Okay.
The chat is so quiet. I answer everyone else's questions, and then you don't have to ask me any questions at all. I'm like, what?
Okay.
This Mustafa is doing a lot of work. Is he doing nothing?
Okay.
What do you think I'm going to assume?
Now I'm doing nothing.
Yes, because you can't answer the formula for the area. Okay, remember. QA.
Yeah.
Okay, it's it values self-driving. What is self-driving? You drive your own learning. The teacher doesn't give you homework, doesn't mean that, oh, I don't have anything to do. Okay?
Okay.
You got into one of the best school in Brisbane, and what comes with that is you also need to put in effort in order to at least keep up with it.
Okay.
Okay? Do you want what happened last time to repeat again?
No.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Right? It already happened once, so you know yourself that the program is more challenging than anything that you have been through so far.
Yeah.
Okay? Looking at the questions, I don't think they're unreasonable, but they are a little bit difficult.
Okay.
Just skim through it. I'll have to go back and look through it later. We can prepare for it, but gotta get there.
Yeah.
Okay? Most students I teach, they will get up to maybe number 3. I'll teach them and they'll practice those ones and hope for the best when it gets here. Because this one is only 20% of the exam, the step 4.
Okay.
For QA, looking at that, it's like half the exam is this.
Okay.
Half of the exam is like hard problem solving questions
Okay.
for criterion C and D. Okay? So if you don't want to fail half of the exam, you better get to this version.
Okay.
Get to this step.
Okay.
And to get to this step, to save some time, you gotta do 1 and 2.
Okay.
Okay? So what I want you to do, okay, simple terms. I'll give you some simple terms. Alright, simple instructions. Home, this is what you need to do. For new chapters, right? New chapters that you are. Oh, okay. Actually, I'll give you a timeline. I have to give you a plan. You need to follow this plan. Okay, I'll start getting used to this plan for this term.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
because if you get a bad result again, our heads are gonna roll.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
your mom will be like, stop, roll, stop, roll. Okay,
Okay.
can't let that happen. Okay, put it this way. Let's say this is today is Sunday, right? So today, and then you have, let's say, Monday. Well, when's your first math class?
Monday.
Monday, right? Okay, let's say Monday. Right? And then, okay, actually, I'll swap it around. So this is today, all right? And this is Friday. So last Friday, and then Monday would be like here, right? Now, last Friday you learned 15, or let's say last week, right? So general last week. So last week in general you learned chapter 15 on Friday, and then 14 A, B, C, D during the week.
Yeah.
Right? So 15, I'm assuming you're probably starting with 15A, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe just 15A?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so Friday was 15A. Do you know what you're going to do on next week? Let's say on Monday, that's tomorrow.
Pretty sure same as like. Yeah, it's probably
So
still.
it's just B, right? B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever.
Yeah, still 15.
So 15, right? Okay. So let's say Monday, assuming how many chapters do you go through per day? Let's say on a Monday, last Monday. Or
Last week I went through like 4 chapters and 4.
4 chapters, but how many per lesson?
Probably like 1 or 2.
1 or 2? Okay. So you can safely assume that because you went to 15A on Friday, you're going to 15BC on Monday.
Yeah.
Fair?
Yeah.
Right, assume 2. If it's 1 or 2, assume the higher one.
Yeah.
15BC. Now this is what I want you to do. Today, again, this is to one step. This is step 1, 2, and 4, right? Step 1, 2, and 4. So step 1 and 2, which is practice your understanding. Okay.
Yeah.
So what you need to do, practice for your understanding for 14, A, B, C, D, and 15. Okay, that is a little bit behind. So step 1 and 2 normally is for new stuff, but for this week you need to do. You need to practice your understanding. So read it, whatever you understand. Ask me. I send you explanation.
Okay.
And you got to do the exercises.
Yeah.
If you think it's easy, if you think something is easy, you can skip the rest of the question, move on to the next one. Okay. But I want to see questions being done.
Yeah.
All right. So step 1 and 2 for 14 A, B, C, D, and 15A, because you haven't done any questions from these one, have you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not at home, right?
No.
Okay, yeah, you have to do them at home by yourself.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that counts, okay? At school with teachers' help, even with me, here with me with my help, that's step 3. That's just learning new techniques. You haven't practiced anything at all.
Yeah.
So step 1 and 2 for these chapters, and because we're already a little bit behind, you need to get to step 4, which is the practice challenging questions for 14 A, B, C, D.
Okay.
Right? Which is basically the 14 review, right? 14 review and challenges. Right now, for the challenges, you need to try the challenges for question 14. You won't be able to do everything. That's okay.
Okay.
Right? It's normal for you to not be able to do anything. But I want you to bring me a partially attempted question.
Okay.
Not just like a, for example, like not just a I don't know how to do question 1.
Okay.
I was like, what do you mean by you don't know how to do question 1? What part of it did you not know?
Okay.
If you can tell me, I got to the point where I got this area, and then I know that it needs to subtract something, but I don't know how to find the error in here. Now that's a better way for me to get started.
Okay.
Okay? Because if you can't do everything at all, you might as well not go to QA.
Yeah.
You gotta get to that point. But yeah, so I want to see it partially done. So see like part of the question, and then you can just calculate something like, oh yeah, area of a square equals to 18 by 18, which is whatever, and then area of the cutout. I don't know how to do it.
Okay.
So that's a partial answer. That's okay.
Okay.
Okay, because I can see that's what you don't know. I can teach you the technique to do that.
Yeah.
And then you can go back and practice. But remember, every time you can't do a question correctly by yourself, and you needed help from me, that's a chance to learn something new.
Yeah.
Right? But also, it's like pros and cons. The pros is that you learn something new. The cons is that you don't get to practice that question by yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So, because the first result is you couldn't do the question.
Yeah.
Okay? Ideally, we want to get to the point where the majority of the challenge exercises you can do by yourself, and all of the review exercises you can do by yourself.
Yeah.
Okay? The review exercises, so far, based on past experiences I have with you, right? I think you can do majority of it. But the reason why you don't do as well in the exam as sometimes I expect you to do is because the other ones, like the ones that you were weak at, came out in the exam.
Yeah.
I think. Okay? So you need to get to the point, aim to get all the review done by yourself correctly.
Yeah.
Even if you make a mistake, as long as you can find out what your mistake is and fix it, I still consider that you can do by yourself. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Now, if you are stuck and have no idea how to get to the answer, again, don't guess.
Yeah.
Okay? If you are not sure about something, that means you don't know it.
Yeah.
Right? Don't lie to yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're not sure about something, that means you have to ask me.
Okay.
Right? That means make a note. That question I don't know how to do.
Okay.
I don't fully understand that question. But of course, the goal is to get all the review exercises done correctly by yourself.
Yep.
Challenge exercises, they're called challenge exercises for a reason. They're challenging. So you attempt them, you might be able to do some, you may not be able to do others. And of course, there are some questions that you have no idea where to start.
Yeah.
Read question 5. Oh, sorry, read question 6. What do you think?
The hypothesis. By how much is the circumference of a circle increase if we increase its diameter by pi units?
Okay, how do you start this one? Think, give you some time.
Is it just diameter times pi?
How much is the circumference? Increase if we increase the diameter by pi units. So diameter times pi and then?
Diameter plus pi?
Hmm?
Is it plus pi?
Plus pi and then?
And we see the original. No, we have to find the original circumference first, and then find how much it increases when you multiply it by pi.
Want to try?
Yeah.
Give it a try.
Okay, so how much is the circle?
Think.
Is there no units for it?
Is there a unit for it?
No.
Answer the question.
How much does the circumference of the circle increase? So the circumference of the circle, I just have to give it like a variable.
Again, assuming you're at home by yourself working on this question.
Okay. This circumference, the other formula for it, circumference equals d times pi.
Yep.
Wait, isn't it just the original d plus 3.14?
You're guessing. So you see, that's a partial answer. I'll take that. Okay. So yes, you could get started with it. Not bad. So you got the idea that it is pi times d. But how do we do this question? Now this is where I come in. Okay. And if you have a list of questions and look, if you look at the list of challenge questions and you can't do any of them, you know where your level is at. You know you're gonna put in more practice.
Yeah.
Okay, because the questions in the exam, if you want to do well, you gotta be very comfortable with the challenge question because the exam is harder than the challenge questions. Remember, last term is harder than the challenge question, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you can't do the challenge questions, then there's no chance for the exam.
Okay.
Okay, so keep that in mind. Now let me show you the technique here. Yes, you're correct. It starts with c equals to pi times d.
Okay.
Now we need to analyze the questions. If we increase the diameter by pi units, so you said something about diameter plus pi, right? And that's correct. So, but then remember, when you increase it, it's no longer the same circumference.
Yes, it's c times pi, c plus pi.
No, it's the diameter is a new diameter now. So this is a new circumference. So the technique is you write c1.
Okay.
Okay. So the new circumference is what? Pi times by is no longer d. It is d plus pi.
Yeah.
Right? Which means that now we can expand it. So that'll be pi times d plus pi squared. And what is pi times d? Is the initial circumference.
Yeah.
So now I can write it as the new circumference is the initial circumference and then plus pi squared. So the answer is the circumference will increase by pi squared units.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it will be like, therefore, circumference increases or will increase by pi squared units. Okay? So but see, the if I give you the answer to this one, that means you lose one chance to be able to practice a question like that from scratch and get it right yourself.
Okay.
But it's okay. That just means that you are lacking quite a bit of techniques to do these kinds of questions. That's okay. If you go through enough of these types of questions, at some point you might be able to do all of the challenge questions yourself. Okay, and then I need to find even more challenging ones for you to do.
Yeah.
Okay, and then maybe you can get 100% in the exam.
Okay.
Criterion C and D. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Would it be?
Yeah.
Don't you want to get 100% in the exam?
Yeah.
Do you think you can get 100%?
Maybe.
Maybe. Right now, maybe. But if with some practice, you can. So you see, that part we just went through, this whole thing is step 3. See, learning a new techniques. But remember, learning it, there's 2 steps, right? 3.1, me explaining it. 3.2 is
doing it.
Yeah, you got to do it again.
Yeah.
But again, I don't have time here to go. If I give you that time here, we can't go through that many. Step 3.1, explaining questions.
Okay.
Right, so you got to go back, look at that, redo that question.
Okay.
I'll send you the notes and the recording. Well, there's a bit of a filler in the recording, but so you can just go straight to the notes if you want to look at these explanations directly. Okay. So yeah, back to the point I was making earlier. So you see, there will be challenge questions that you can partially start, or some you may not even know where to start. That's okay. But I want to see you start trying out some of them, and you have to aim to be able to do them all. Okay.
Yeah.
Aim to do them all. Right. Don't rely on me. Okay. I want to teach you to the point where you can actually do most of the stuff in the textbook yourself. Then I can teach you some more advanced stuff. Maybe I can even teach you like the year after. If you already get 100%, I can teach you the year after. And maybe, I don't know, in year 11, you're so good, ducks of math, you don't need me anymore. Perfect. No problem with me.
Okay.
Like, my philosophy is I always want to teach my students to the point where they don't need me anymore. That's the goal. But no one has ever achieved that.
Okay.
So maybe you'll be the first one, but you gotta put in the effort.
Okay.
You gotta put in the effort. Remember, you gotta put in the effort to do step 1, 2, and 4.
Okay.
So 1, 2 at home, and then come to me. I will teach you some new techniques. Then you have to go home and practice more of those techniques. That's how students can get really high marks. That's what they did in the past. I didn't have anyone to teach me that, but I just got an intuition. I was like, oh yeah, I guess I need to learn these things first. And then, oh right, when a teacher taught me something cool, but oh yeah, okay, I gotta try that more. And at home, I struggle, so I go back, bring it to the teacher, and bug the teacher, hey sir, can you please explain it to me? And he's like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, it makes sense. I go back and practice more. As simple as that.
Okay.
Right, so I'm just breaking it down for you into 4 simple steps here.
Okay.
So now, again, back to this point. Right now, you will need to go back and do the chapter 14 review and challenges. Okay, because that's the step 4. That's the important thing. That's the step 4 in the process for you to be able to do problem solving by yourself. Okay. Now, the reason why I mentioned about Monday, aka what you haven't learned yet at school, is because there is a way to shortcut this whole process. It requires a little bit of effort right now. Okay. Today or maybe even next week if you can't catch up in time. But once you're on top of things, you're slightly ahead of school, you'll find learning is pretty easy.
Okay.
Right? Do you trust me? Yeah? So this is what we have to do. Step 1 and 2, so I said that you have to do it for 14 ABCD. Well, maybe not much because I already went through like the majority of it. Okay? So it's maybe not even much. So let's say we skip that one, but you actually need to just do step, I'll break it down. So step 1 is understand, right? Step 2, because you already understand 14 ABCD, you can technically just do that, 14 ABCD. So go back, step 2 is the practicing, right?
Okay.
Practice the exercises.
Yeah.
Okay, and then step 1, you need to do for 15 ABC.
Okay.
Right, I haven't gone through 15 with you. Okay, let's see. I might have time to go to 15. We'll see. So if I go to 15A with you, that means I help you get past the step 1 for 15A. Okay. Right. but you need to read ahead.
Okay.
You haven't learned 15 BC yet, have you?
No.
No.
Wait, oh no, we've learned that. I can do like a volume of a rectangular prism. I can do this. This is like not too hard.
Right, so ABC basically.
Yeah. And what's this? Special quadraticals. Yeah, these are kind of hard for me. B is a bit hard.
Okay, all right. So I'll go through the concepts of B. Yeah, that's fine.
Maybe A and B, and then we started D. We started D. Yeah.
Right, we started D. Oh, okay, so that's 15 BCD. They went through a lot of chapters at home in 1 week. Okay, that's fine. That means it's no longer, it will be changed here. A, B, C, D. Started D. So assume you finished D on Monday. D and E, right? Yeah.
The Monday. Yeah.
I assume you're going to do D and E.
Yeah.
So now, assuming that, in the next couple minutes, I will explain to you everything about 15 A and B, so you have an idea of what they are, so you get understanding. Step 1. You have to go back and spend time doing step 2 for 15 A, B, C. Okay? And then you still gotta spend time learning, doing step 1. Basically, so when you're learning a new concept, you may not, if you haven't learned that at school, you don't need to do the exercises.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I told you this last time. To read ahead. Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure you do that this time.
Okay.
Okay. Read ahead for 15D and E. You can read the explanation. Read the textbook.
Yeah.
Read the textbook is generally pretty good. Like this textbook is pretty good, the one that you have.
Okay.
So read it. Try to understand as much as you can. Okay. Read the examples and redo the examples.
Okay.
All right. Trust me, this is very important. Okay. So to understand the basics, right? So this is some examples, but you would basically need to read textbook. Okay, read the textbook and redo examples. Read textbooks including examples. Okay, and then redo examples.
Okay.
If you can redo examples, you're done with step 1. You already understood the basics.
Okay.
Okay, and then the practicing the basics is basically chapter exercises. Alright, these are the chapter exercises. When I said exercises, I mean all of them.
Okay.
You don't need to do all, but you need to do the ones that you are not sure if you can do.
Okay.
Or the ones that in topics that you are not sure in general. You got to do all of them.
Okay.
Okay, so these ones: read textbook, redo examples, and so you read examples first, and then you redo the examples, and then you get to step 2 by practicing the exercises.
Okay.
So my plan for you, for example, because you did 14 ABCD and 15 ABC last week, right? Assuming I've gone through all of that, you need to go back and do these practices yourself.
Okay.
Remember, next time you also need to okay, actually I'll get to that in a second. So that's for today, right?
Yep.
And then let's say our lesson is on Sunday. Okay? So you finish school on Friday. So let's say Saturday. Right? By Saturday, you need to have done step assuming you've done step 1 for 15 DE, it could be FG, whatever. Right? FG. So it could be like at this point here, after Monday, that's when you go step 1 for 15 F and G, okay, which is read and do examples, and then you do step 2 for 15 DE. Right after you learn at school, go home, do the exercises.
Okay.
Remember, do you want to get 100%?
Yeah.
Yes, those are the steps.
Okay.
Follow this. I almost guarantee that you will do very well in the next exam.
Okay.
I can almost guarantee. Okay, it is a lot of work, but at least you know exactly what to do. I'm literally like spelling out, do this, do that.
Okay.
I'm gonna spend the time and do it. Okay, so step 2 for 15 DE. Well, we haven't really gone through 15 yet, so you may or may choose. Actually, no, you haven't done everything in 15 yet, so you can't do step 4.
Yeah.
Okay, if you want, you can continue doing step 4, which is the challenging questions for chapter 14.
Okay.
Right, so review and challenges. Again, you don't need to do everything today, but you have to schedule enough time to be able to get all of this done as soon as possible.
Okay.
Okay, and then after that, if you have a bunch of things during the week, will be the same idea where before the lesson, you learn the content of the lesson already. And then after the lesson, you do the exercises.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Then on Saturday, by Saturday, this is the deadline. Okay, the Saturday is the deadline here. By Saturday, I want you to have completed all of this. So assuming you have learned all of chapter 15, you have completed step 1 and 2 for all of 15. Okay?
Yeah.
And you would have step 4 for all of chapter 14, review and challenges.
Okay.
And then you bring to me on Sunday, right? You bring to me any questions you have for chapter 14.
Okay.
Because chapter 15, if you had any question during the week, what do?
Message you.
Yes, message me. Okay? Step 1 and 2, you can message me.
Yeah.
Normally, step 3 and 4, the problem solving one is a bit harder for me to explain sometimes. You can still ask anyway. If I don't think it's good for me to explain to you over there, I'll just wait for the actual lesson. Okay? So step 1 and 2 is.
So but today, I have to do what do I have to do? 15 DE.
Yeah. Today is this list here.
Okay.
Yeah. So step 1, read and do the example 15 DE.
Yeah.
Right? Get ahead of it. But the most important thing is this one here. You need to practice the chapters that you did last week, because you didn't get to do them during the week. So now you have to try to cram it in.
Okay.
If you can't finish it, you gotta continue doing it on Monday and stuff. Make sure you catch up, right? To do the exercises.
Hey, send me that. Can you send me that?
Send you this list?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll send you on Discord like a summary.
Okay.
Okay. And I'll send you these notes as well, so you can always go back and see the timeline and how the timeline is planned out.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me, what's the main idea?
You go see, like, learn something. You learn the basics. So you do it in school, and then you have to learn the basics first, and then do it in school, and then come back and do the step 2, which is like the review of it, like the understand, like practicing the basics.
Which is what step 2? What actually you do?
Practicing the basics.
Yeah. And what do you actually do?
You like do the question, redo the questions. You can redo the questions, but like substitute in from the other stuff.
Yeah. Or basically it's just do the questions in the chapter.
Yeah.
Like the 14B, you go to chapter, because there's a chapter and then the exercise for that chapter.
Yeah.
Right. Repeat, and at the very end is the review and challenges.
Yeah.
Okay. And then continue.
And then do once like you've done it, do like 3
is learning new technique. That's hard to do by yourself.
in class.
If you can, yeah. So if the teacher goes through, for example, like the Monte Carlo method and all that stuff, it's the advanced techniques.
Yeah.
Some of them are advanced techniques. So see if you can learn those, and then learn and practice.
And then practice what you learn in the class. Fun things, that's 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 4 is the final thing. So the problem solving ones. Sometimes during the chapter there will be some problem solving questions right, at the very end. Yeah, like the one that not the challenges, but let's say even this chapter here.
Yeah.
Oh no, this one pretty easy. This one not much. Oh, sorry, that's the review. Oh yeah, like this one here. So this is the end of the list of exercises for chapter 14D. Okay, if you find the first one easy, that one easy, and then we'll get to these ones. Oh, how do I do question 10? Because question 10 is actually an easier, I would say is an easier problem solving one that I expect you to be able to do and get it correct. Okay, so there are some problem solving ones that you can try out before you get to the challenge questions. Okay, so the question towards the end of the chapter basically. Okay, good. So you got the gist of it. Now, given a couple minutes left, let me go through the areas, the chapter for areas. So I can get you past 15A. Okay, 15A, let's see. Yeah, composite figures, that's easy stuff. 15B. Okay, areas of special quadrilaterals. Alright, so is this the one that you struggle a little bit with?
Yeah.
Okay, alright. So first is this one here. Okay, now this is 15B. When you think of these special quadrilaterals, right? I like to deconstruct them. If I want to prove the certain formula, I like to deconstruct them. For example, in this case, I will cut a line like that. Okay, so see if I were to shade that little area there, right?
Yep.
And if I were to take that area, whoops, I can't, can I? Oh, yes. And then move it over here. What does it become?
Becomes
And then we don't look at this anymore. It becomes a
rectangle.
A rectangle, yes. What's the area of a rectangle?
It's just length times width.
Yeah, length times width, right? And you see the top never changed, right? This is the length of the rectangle.
Yeah.
And this is also the length of the same rectangle, right? It's just like if you skew it a little bit, it becomes a parallelogram.
Yeah.
A parallelogram each pair of its opposite side parallel. So basically it has two pairs of parallel sides. So to draw a parallelogram, I can draw one pair of parallel sides, right? And if I draw another pair, let's say this one, and I have to draw another one that is parallel to that, the shape in the middle is a parallelogram. Okay, so two opposite sides are parallel. The other ones are also parallel. Then it will become a parallelogram, aka it's a rectangle that's like a bit like shifted.
Yeah.
Okay, so the area is the same as base times height because it's just the same as a rectangle. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Next, trapezium. Okay, trapezium. A trapezium is a quadrilateral with one pair of opposite sides are parallel. So only one pair parallel. These two are not parallel, right? So only this one is parallel. So that's why they would draw those arrows there to tell you that those ones are parallel.
Yeah.
Now the area is sum of the two bases, a plus b, right? The top base plus the bottom base times by height divided by 2.
Yeah.
Okay, why do you think that's the case?
Because you're only doing one side.
One
pair?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Okay. Again, you can. Okay. There is a way to prove this. So let me just crop this. All right. Have a look. If I were to take that line there, right, which is the side A, right? If I were to take that and then I move it down here. Okay. Similarly, I can take the line for B, like that one there, right, and I move it to the top here, and I join them. What do you think the shape that I just made?
Parallelogram.
Yes, it's a parallelogram.
It's half a parallelogram.
Yes, it's half of a bigger parallelogram. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
But then note that this parallelogram, the bottom side of it is actually A plus B. Right? The top is also A plus B.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like a parallelogram where you just times the height by the base, but then a trapezium is only half of a bigger parallelogram, so it's divided by 2.
Okay.
That make sense?
Yeah.
So you can write it as like that and then divide by 2. Okay, and the bigger parallelogram is done by adding the two bases together of the trapezium.
Okay.
Yeah, easier to remember?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, next would be rhombus and a kite. Okay, so the rhombus is a little different. So rhombus, all four sides are equal. Okay, so let's deduce the formula, the area formula for the rhombus. So if all four sides are equal, right, and it's just base times height. Not much. It's like the same as the parallelogram. Okay. But a kite shape though. Let me see if I can borrow a kite shape from what they have here. Okay, all right. Another special formula for the rhombus. Yeah, this is the one. So if you have the two diagonals, so that's x, right? And then I have the other diagonal called y. Okay, so a rhombus has a special feature where the two diagonals are actually perpendicular to each other. Okay, that's a specialty of a rhombus. It's like a kite. You know the kite shape? It's like, let's say it's like that, right? And then it's like you draw two perpendicular lines and then the other one is a little bit shorter. Then you join this one, it makes a kite, right? So the two diagonals are perpendicular to each other. It's the same as a rhombus.
Yeah.
Okay, and because they are perpendicular, you see what happens when I multiply the two diagonals. It makes a right? If I multiply x times by y, it makes a
this rectangle.
makes a rectangle. But what do you think is the ratio of the rhombus to the rectangle?
Rhombus is half.
It's half. Yes, that's why it's x times y over 2. So there are two ways to find the rhombus area. It's either base times height or the product of the two diagonals, and then you divide by 2. Okay. So again, I just gave you the basic understanding. That doesn't mean that you can actually remember these ones. Please go back, look at these shapes, and then draw them out, and then draw out the little extra diagram that I drew here.
Yep.
Okay, the extra shapes in order to be able to understand my explanation and help you remember the formula a bit better.
Okay.
Okay, make sense?
Yep.
All right. Any last questions?
No.
Sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Or you just want to go home?
No, I'm sure.
Okay. Any question you can ask me on Discord. Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure you ask questions. Step 1, 2, and 4. Yeah. Most important to do at home.